Hello and good evening. Welcome to another evening with Moment with Vivacious. Did y'all see Artemis go up to the moon? We're going up to the moon again. They say it's further this time. Life is good. I think we're all emotionally worn with the news. However, we must set a precedence. We must put ourselves on the defense now that we don't have to fight for our way through anymore. Okay, we're gonna put ourselves on an offense and put everybody around us on the defense. And we have nobody other than Mr. Scott Gibson. He's gonna tell it like it is. We might be shamed, mad, happy, cry, but he gonna bring it to us. So look, everybody who's on, like it right now. If you're not subscribed, subscribe, and we'll see you in a moment. Call your friends. Welcome to A Moment with Vivacious, a freedom ride where we the people gather to build ourselves, our family, our community, and our nation. For the sound of America for Progress has reached critical mass. Understanding that we must put aside our differences to focus on the greater good. This is a place of collaboration to rebuild and restore our nation. Welcome to A Moment with Vivacious. Hello, everyone, and welcome again.
How you doing?
A Moment with Vivacious. We have Mr. Scott Gibson. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me at all?
Did you unmute me?
I can hear you loud.
I can't hear you.
I can hear you loud. Okay. My mic is on.
Microphone ain't on.
Kristen, can you bring me down and bring Scotty back up? And bring me back up and see if my sound come on. She must not hear me.
Turn up the volume.
Go ahead and talk.
I can't hear you. One, two. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can't hear you.
I can hear you loud. Hello.
How y'all doing tonight? Everything's good. I'm Scott Gibson. I'm an activist. I'm also a crisis nurse. I believe in Black empowerment, foundational Black Americans. We grow together by learning together. We've had a lot of hiccups along the way, but we can overcome those because by uniting together, we have to see the bigger picture of everything. It's been a tough 25 years for us, but you know, things happen, with expanded freedoms, with social media, with music, movies, and those type of things happen, and some of it's good and some of it's bad. We latch on to the bad and we put it up front, but we gotta make a change to that. We gotta get the good where it belongs. With that, hey,
Stand there. Oh shit.
oh, hope everybody's doing good tonight. Down here in Florida, the weather's beautiful.
Hello, can you hear me now?
I don't know. Hold on, we're waiting for the microphone to come up.
Chris, they can't hear me.
All right, no.
I need your help. I left out and came back in, but they still can't hear me. Hello, can you hear me now? Okay. No. Okay. Exit out the stream and completely close out that browser and go back in. Hello? Yeah, can you hear me? Yes, I don't
Can
know.
you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can't. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you very good. Sure. I'm trying to hello?
I need to know what's going on with y'all out there. What's happening?
Thank you.
What's going on with my people? We ain't out there enough.
I can
We
hear you, but
being
you can't hear me.
underrepresented. The hardworking people that's out here every day
How
doing
do I
everything.
exit? How do I
Okay.
out?
Well, here's the thing with the narrative, and that's the subject of
Huh?
tonight's discussion. Um, the narrative that we have, we don't have control of our narrative. We let other people speak for us, and those people, they don't have our best interest at heart. Um, they're
Text me.
doing what they want to do. They're portraying us as savages, and we're not that. We're actually hard-working, tax-paying citizens. The majority of us. What they're portraying to not just us, because we're buying into it too. They're portraying that to the world. So when you wonder why foreigners come here and they treat us so unfairly, they treat us unfairly because of what they're seeing. That they think that everybody black is running around with the pants sagging down, with guns, and the women are dressing provocative, and all black people are not living like that. But that's the message that we're allowing the world or the powers that be to sell to us. The people that have control of the media in all forms, they're putting this stereotypical image of us out there. Now, I'm not saying that um I'm not saying that it's wrong. But what I'm saying is it's not the whole story. And because of that, you allow stereotypes and presumptions to be put out there about us. You know, we we've come a long way. You know, a lot of people don't understand that we really got our groove going in the late 60s with the civil rights passage. And me being first generation civil rights, you know, I've seen a lot of things. I've seen a lot of hurdles put in our way. And we have overcome so much. We have always overcome, even though you don't see it, that don't mean that it's not being done. But now with social media, with music, with YouTube, Instagram, we're allowing the quest to get paid is what's getting in the way of everything. And you have to understand that we're a much bigger picture than what they're portraying. You back in there? You back
Can
in
you
here with
hear
me?
me? Can you hear
I
me
can hear
now?
you. I can hear you
Okay.
now.
I'm,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Scotty. Great
That's
guest.
okay.
Great guest. Sigrid said, "Good evening, everyone."
Hello, Sigrid. How you doing?
And can we talk about just for a minute? Because I need everybody to understand because we still at the party. I heard one of the guys on his show the other day say, we out here partying and we missing it. You know, I know it. We got a lot of people say I'm not into politics. You into politics because everything about your life have something to do with politics.
Absolutely.
But I want us to understand the situation we in and why we need to focus right now, and what we need to focus. I don't need to say anything. I'm just gonna sit back, handle it.
Okay, well, here's the thing about the party. It comes to an end. Being young and there's a bunch of things that go along with that. And partying is part of it. And it's not just young people now, it's people up 45, 50, 55, professional teenagers now. They want to get caught up in the crowd. They want to have a good time too, and there's nothing wrong with it. But the problem is that the people that you following behind, you got grown people following behind teenagers, still trying to be cool, still trying to be hip, still trying to be down. And what they've done is that they've given the leadership of our people to the young people. And that's the problem. It gets to a point where you have to grow up. It's nothing wrong with going out partying and having a good time, but Monday morning is coming. What are you doing on Monday morning? Are you going to work? Are you laying around? Every day in your life can't be Saturday night. And I know because I lived that life at one point as a young person. And we people, they don't dream anymore. They don't aspire to do anything because they don't have anybody leading them at home or social media, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Everybody's in this big quest to just sit back and live life on their terms. But the reality of it is that, yeah, you can live it on your terms, but are you going to make money doing it? Are you going to, and I'm not saying make millions of dollars. I'm talking about just being able to pay your everyday bills. It gets to a point where it gets tiring. And then you have people out here who can't control their liquor, can't control their high. And next thing you know, they out here fighting and wilding and running amok. And guess what? That's the narrative that the powers that be, the ones that control all the media, all the forms of entertainment, all the real forms of communication are portraying to the world. So don't get mad when foreigners come over here and they treat you a certain way. Well, that's the image that's what they seeing. That's what they looking at. That's what they hearing. So it's like you have well-to-do people, hardworking, tax-paying citizens, black people out here that's not out here doing that. But because the image that's being portrayed in America and around the world are young black people are out of control. And because the parents or people in a position of authority haven't stepped up to lead, this is what we got. This is why the situation it is the way it is because people don't want to lead. Oh, it's not my responsibility. It is your responsibility. Well, those are not my kids. Yeah, but they're in your community. They're a representation of you. So when you dealing with this, guess what? This is the blowback of that. This is what happens when people wash their hands with young people say, oh, it's not my kids. But guess what? Your kids have to deal with society.
Hmm.
And we all do. We wanna say, hey, well, white kids used to do it, and white kids used to do it. They were way out of control. But guess what? They're not gonna put their trash on TV
And
because
they
they control it.
because
They
they
can,
still do it. Hmm.
yeah, they still do it. They way more out of control. But they're not gonna put their business on TV. They're gonna divert to us. And we falling right into the trap time and time again. There's nobody to blame anymore. There's no fingers that you can point at and say stuff like back in the day, oh, the white man's holding me back. The white man's not holding you back. The opportunity is out here for everybody to get. But what are you going to do
And
with
the,
it?
and the government is in the state it is today because they couldn't hold you back. And
Right.
I'm thinking of your son, my nephews, all my, my grandchildren growing up, going to college. That's not on TV. That's not on.
No.
And I want to say another thing. I want to bring another thing because I know you'll address this. Last year when I spoke at the National Convention in Las Vegas, I was speaking on women of color, and
Oh,
I made a booklet, and I said, okay, I want to pick some women of different nationalities who are American citizens because they were women of color. I want you to know they did not want to be known as
no,
women of color.
no. But but here's the thing about it is they the thing with the title "Women of Color" it's a smokescreen because these people that come from these other countries, they don't care about us. They unite together to build their thing. You have Asians that come over here and they build Asian communities. I can tell anybody that grew up in Queens, New York, will tell you about Flushing, New York. When I was a kid, they had a newsstand, one Asian guy that I seen, at least I seen. He had under the railroad train bridge, there was a newsstand. That was the only thing Asian that I seen out there. I went back 20 years later, every single thing was an Asian. Everything. All the stores, I mean, there were all the people. It was Asians everywhere. They came in, and they built their community. They dug out their own community, and even they said that I was told that my old neighborhood where I grew up at Bayside is full of Asians. That the Asians were literally knocking on people's doors with suitcases full of money and buying homes from black people from the homes that their parents worked and paid for with suitcases of money, and they were buying the houses, and you gave up your most valuable asset, the real estate, in New York City. Now you might have got $250,000. Now that property is probably worth three times as much. Half of my elementary school was closed because there wasn't enough students. Now they got trailers out in the yard full of Asians. And I'm not blaming the Asians for coming over here and taking advantage of the opportunities that America gave them. But what I'm saying is that whole people of color, that's a mirage. That ain't even real. Those people have their best interest at heart. But
That's
again, they also been brainwashed by what they seeing on TV and what they seeing in the music and what they seeing on social media about black people out here running wild. And because of that, they distance themselves away from us, included and mostly Africans. They really don't want nothing to do with us. They've built out their thing. They came here, they stick together, and they'll look down on you in a heartbeat. But no, they don't want to be, they don't want to be associated with that. They there to get the information. What are we doing? What's going on in our community? See, the secret, so once upon a time, the secret for the black community was silence. Silence is power. They didn't know what was going on in the community, in the black community, so they didn't know how to deal with it. They were scared because they didn't know. Now, due to rap music, they know everything. There's no secrets. You don't know what's going on in Hispanic communities. You don't know what's going on in Asian communities. You don't know what's going on in African communities because they're not out there telling their business. They're not telling about the drug dealer on the corner. Oh yeah, we got the drug dealers out here on this block. They getting their money hand over fist over there. And guess what? The police are listening to that, and the police are right over there watching. And then when the police come through, everybody's like, man, how did they know about it? They knew about it because somebody told them on a rap song. That's how they knew. They know you got ops, your enemies and everything like that. Yeah, we gonna ride on our enemies. They don't gotta go out and do investigations no more because you telling everything in the music. When did we as black people, and this is a real question that I have, when did we as black people put the ghetto up as the representation of us? And that's something that we have to aspire to get to, the respect of the ghetto. You've been working hard all your life. You college degrees, college educated. You got a house, you got kids, you got all of that, but you don't understand why your kids is out of control. because we have elevated the lowest of us and we put them in front of the cameras, the most ignorant, the most ignorant. We put them in front of the camera as a representation of us. And then we wonder what's happening in our communities because these young kids, these young people, and also older people, they influenced by this stuff. And when you don't have leadership, you like a rudderless ship. You just floating, just going any which way. And you trying to grab onto something because it's hot, it's trendy, it's cool. But because of that, that's why we we are in the situation that we in. And the people who are doing well, who are in positions to step up and say something, they not doing it. They say, oh, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't want to be bothered with it. But then on the other hand of that, you say, well, why don't they want to be involved? Because they don't want to be involved with young people because young people, young black people ain't got no respect. They don't have any respect for anything or anybody. And that's a problem because the people who were supposed to step up chose not to step up, or they joined the crowd, and that's a problem.
And this young guy came to my job the other day, and he sat in front of me and started cursing. I said, "Hold up, wait a minute." And I gave him a talk on respect. I said, "You know what? Y'all need to do differently. You guys have got to do differently." I said, "We don't want to live in our neighborhood anymore because y'all don't respect the fact that we're older. I'm supposed to feel safe in my neighborhood, not leave out because I can't come home. Scared you're gonna rob me, scared either you're gonna shoot me, I might have to shoot at you. I don't have a gun, but you know what I'm saying?
I know
We
exactly
were
what you're
when we
saying.
put a hood, look, daddy had to go to work. The women in the neighborhood watched us. Now you it's a two-way street that has gone bad. You know, the two-lane street is trying to bring down 4 lanes worth of activity because you can't trust your children with nobody. Look, my grandchildren are grown in high school, and I'm telling my daughter, well, did you pick them up? Well, did they? You know, we used to catch the bus. You can't do that no more. The hood was the hood. We were hood. We were not ghetto. I don't understand
Right.
how we got ghetto
The
because
music.
we entertain. Um, we had our own money. We were our own. We were self sufficient, and that's what made us the hood, and that's what made us survive. If war starts
Mhm.
on our land right now, where in the world are we going? How do we come to? I know you talk about this all the time, and that's why I couldn't wait to have you here. How in the world, wherever your heart feel like going, go there. But how in the world do we get our narrative back?
Well, first of all, we have to stop letting the media or the powers that be set the tone for us. You know, there's Spotify music. Spotify, they don't give the music artists no money, nothing. They don't make no money, but he's worth $17 billion. Once upon a time, there were black record labels. That owned everything, and I'm not saying that they were treating their artists any better, but it was black money that was coming out of the black community going back into the black community. They gave the real voice of what's going on in the black community. So when you got people like Daniel Eck, who's like, okay, well, whatever they want to put out, they put it out. They put out that madness, and guess what? They promote it up to the top. They don't care. He don't care what you put out. He don't care what the young people listening to. He's putting out the voice that they telling. He's part of it too. But the key is you have to get control of the music. You have to get control of social media, and you have to stop celebrating ignorance because that's what it boils down to. Is foolishness. It's ignorance. If you think that, let me say this: you a young guy, you gang banging, and somebody kills one of your ops. You go up into your friend's house, you see his family's destroyed. His mother is uncontrollable. So do you feel the way to get back at that person is to go kill the person that lives a couple of blocks away from you so his mother can go through it? So now his mother's uncontrollable. And it just keeps going back and forth, back and forth. And then what eventually ends up happening is somebody gets caught and they get arrested. And now they sitting in prison for 25, 30 years. I know because I worked at the Florida Intake Center. And guess what we did? We had people coming from all over from the state of Florida, but some of them told me they were on a bus 8 hours, 9 hours, and they came to the intake center and we had to process them in, do the physicals, and then they would be with us for about a week or two, and they would go off to their final destination to serve their sentence. The thing about it, what was so sad and so miserable to me, is I was seeing young kids, 18 years old, release date life. When you see that, and I seen this repeatedly, release date, it just said life. It didn't even have a date. And that was the most heartbreaking thing for me, because
Yeah.
I seen young guys in there and girls who had life sentences over
Yes.
over foolishness, over nonsense. Oh, and people told me, oh, this guy bumped into me. He was looking at me all crazy. I was drunk. I didn't know what I was doing. And because of a split decision, it destroyed your life.
Right.
18-year-olds, 19-year-olds in there crying, talking to me in the office, crying. And I'm telling them, look, you got to chin up. You got to man up. You got to go do this. I spent 5 days of training just on prison rape. Just on prison rape. That's how serious it was. You know, you see these guys, they got these cell phones in prison, and they in this partying and celebrating and everything, and making it seem like jail is just this cool place to be. What? Jail ain't no cool place to be. Ask anybody serving
In
25
prison is
years would they
worse.
rather be outside.
In prison worse.
In prison is worse. They don't understand that. You seeing these videos, and you seeing these videos of these people, and you say, "Oh man, that's my man," and them. They in there having a good time. They not having a good time. They
Mm.
crying every night. They don't want to be there. Ask any of them. They would rather be anywhere but there, and they'll
The
tell you that they
hardest
made
people, the
mistakes.
hardest guys, they'll beat down their mom and their grandpa. The hardest guys, I promise you, the hardest guys come in there crying.
Yeah, you
The
gonna
hardest guys.
listen. Yeah, when you doing a life sentence. Let me give you a little scenario. When you're doing a
Let
life
me just say that
sentence,
we have two
okay,
comments because you're hitting it.
okay,
Um, Sigrid said, I agree with you, Mr. Scott. And Barbara Dozier said, oh my goodness, so true. We hurt our own race more than anyone.
yeah, we're not victims. That's the one thing that I have to say. We're not victims because we're making these decisions. We are able-minded making these decisions. It's like let me tell you about the scenario. When you
Okay.
go to prison, the first thing that's gonna happen is all your friends, all your girl, everybody, they gonna cut you off. The
Because they're
letters
way
gonna stop.
back there in court. The only person in court is your mom or your grandma.
Your mother is gonna be there with you to the
That's
from beginning to the end, and then your mother's gonna get sick and she gonna pass away, and then you're gonna be in there by yourself. You're gonna be in there with the other people wishing that they had their moms. You ain't gonna have somebody in there to console you because you live in this life that you chose to do. And prison is a lonely place. It's not something, and I'm talking male and female, because I was in process and females too, who had life sentences. And they were telling me, oh man, I just was with my girls and this jumped off. And next thing you know, somebody got killed and we ran away and nobody would confess to doing it. And we all doing life sentences. We, excuse me, we all doing 20 years. And people act like 20 years is just like a snap your fingers. 20 years is a long time because jail is slow time. I know I was in there with these guys and I was talking to these guys and they enjoyed me because I'm in there laughing with them. They living life through me. I'm telling them stories. We having, they sitting there eyes big like children, grown men, because they're like, man, that's what's going on the outside. That's what's happening. Even the ones that's caught up with social media, they like, wow, that's going on outside. Yeah, that's what's going on outside. Man, I wish I had a chance to do it again. I bet you do. We all make mistakes, but some mistakes can cost you your life. It can cost you your life, either physically and mentally, because that's what prison is. It's a trap.
And when you're 17 and you go to jail for 20 years, you're 37. You missed your your
The
life,
prime.
how to grow up. You haven't grown up. So you come out a 17-year-old that's living in a whole different place.
The responsibility of it is the parents' responsibility. Cause that's who I put all of this on, the mother and the father. You have so many people that's out here just living free spirited and everything. And next thing you know, there's a baby involved. Me there was I was watching a show the other day, and it was so depressing that I had to call my 20-year-old son in there. I said, I want you to sit down and watch this. They were in court, Judge Judy, and with two girls in there, one was suing the other for damage in her car. And the boyfriend was there, and the boyfriend had been messing with both girls, unfortunately. And she said, how old are you? He said, I'm 21. Oh, wait, I think I'm 22. Oh, I just had a birthday. I'm 22. And Judge Judy was like, you don't know how old you are? And his girlfriend was standing there with him. And the judge said to him, well, what are you doing? And they were in Atlanta. What are you doing? He said, I work through a temp service. And she said, yeah, but what do you, he said, but I hurt my hand, so I'm not working at this time. And she said, yeah, but what are you doing? You and your girlfriend, the girlfriend already had a baby with the boy. She was 20 years old and she was pregnant again with another baby. And you out there scratching up somebody's car. And Judge Judy was like, this guy ain't got nothing. What are y'all fighting over him for? And come to find out, Judge Judy asked the boy, where do you live at? He said, me and my girl live together with our baby and everything. She said, yeah, but how do you take care of yourself? He said, I live with my mother. So the single mother is taking care of him, the girl, the baby on the way. And he said his sister was at the house too, and she just had a baby. And it's like, when do you wake up? Why do you keep having these babies?
Why do
Why
they
do you keep bringing
allow?
these kids?
Why do look? This lady came in the other day, had to spend time in jail because her daughter beat her up and called the police.
Mhm.
So she ended up in jail.
Yeah. And
If
now the
if
daughter's
you
at the
had
house running wild.
why didn't you emancipate her a long time ago? You could emancipate people 15, 16 years old. They want to be grown. Unfortunately, we have to bring them out there. And I believe that would be the only way. If these children, we buy them cars, houses, we do all of this stuff. And I believe that when they learn to take care of themselves, that's good. And we put them out there, um, Mr. Gibson, when we put them out there to make them make it like we had to make it,
Yeah,
we
but they
had to do our
can't.
own thing.
They can't.
That's the only
Young
way we're gonna
people,
get our neighborhood back. How
young people
our
are
neighborhood?
growing up too fast. They growing up so
They're
fast, and then
acting up.
they're
They're
growing up
acting up.
without. Yeah, but see, the problem is they growing up without parents. Let's say this right here. The father's not around. He might be paying child support. He don't want nothing to do because he's still young out there running wild, living his life, having baby after baby. Because there's only a certain amount of men that's out there doing this. I think they said it's 18% of the men are most of the fathers in the black community. 53% are married, and the other percentage they don't have any children. So the thing is that these young girls get caught up with this flashy stuff. They say this guy, oh, he's flashy, he's slick talking. And then the kids grow up without a father in the house. The mother has to work all day. Then they got their friends, they got social media, they got this music, and they being brainwashed. They being brainwashed. I'm telling you, when I was at Pathways, there was one time I looked in the day room and they were listening to trap music. Young white kids, black kids, they all in there together, and there might have been about 20 of them, and they just all sitting there banging their head to this. And I'm just like, man, what are y'all listening to? Oh, this is hot. And all of them just sitting there, just like in a trance listening to us. And I'm like, man, is this really what's happening to y'all? And that's what's happening to them. You got that slow, deep bass that's dumbing them down, and they just go along with it. It was like they were all just like, and I'm just like, wow, what's happening? And those were the ones that we had inside. So now you got the ones on the outside, and then you get drugs involved into it. Can you just imagine? That's what it is. If let's say this right here, you're a young person, and they saying to you, oh, you gotta have these $300 or $400 pair of jeans or this shirt or these sneakers and everything for you to be cool. Where these young people gonna get that money from? Especially young kids in the ghetto, in the hood. Where they gonna get that money
A
from?
lot of times, mama will buy it, and
Yeah,
the light's not on.
yeah, but see the thing a bit. What about when mom ain't buying it? What they gonna do to get it? They gonna do whatever they gotta do to get it. And that includes crime, robbing, doing whatever they do, because they want to be, because the music is telling them you got to be cool, you got to be hip, you got to go through all of that. As a kid, I grew up with my grandmother. I didn't have all those trendy clothes, but when I went to junior high school, which was like 95, 96% black, everybody was trendy. Everybody dressed the same. Everybody looked the same. I mean, it was crazy. I didn't grow up. I wasn't used to that right there. Like again, like I always tell you, people got the wrong idea about New York. Everybody black that lives in New York ain't living in the hood. Ain't living in the ghetto. I was fortunate enough that I had my grandparents were college graduates, and they raised us. But my uncle and my mom and my aunt and them, they got caught up in the street too, and they made bad decisions. My mom had my brother, a month, not even a month after her 16th birthday. So it's like a vacuum. People get sucked into this, and next thing you know, they making decisions that will affect the rest of their lives. If you're, again, like I always say, if you're a child having a child, how are you gonna raise a child if you don't know if you don't know? You still want to be young. You still want to live your life. You still want to have fun. You want to have a good time. And grandmothers are not like grandmothers like back in the days, like we had, where grandma was actually a grandmother in her 50s and she would step in and help take the kid out. Or you might be a young woman who has 3 children and you living at home with your mother. And instead of doing what you're supposed to do with your children, you out there being trendy. You wearing these wigs and these nails, all this just waste of money. And that's what it boils down to. When do you step up and say, I got to be an adult? I got to handle my responsibility. I got to take charge of my life. You have kids that go to school and they disrupt in the class all day. Then why are you here? Why are you here? If you're not here to learn, if you're here to disrupt the classroom, why are you here?
Because they're gonna put my mom in jail if I
Yeah, I
don't.
mean, it's not just that. It's just like, why are you even there? Because you have some kids in there that really want to learn, that really want to take
Exactly.
advantage.
Exactly. Mhm.
Um, I was a young knucklehead. I was like that, and I look back on myself. I was like, man, you were a fool. What were you thinking?
But you
Being
didn't.
suspended for
But
30
you.
days at a time.
But you didn't create another generation of fools.
No, absolutely not. My son just
Yeah.
my son my
Mhm.
son just finished college last week. My daughter's in Texas getting her master's degree. But that's because I had a woman in my life that we had the same values, that we were together for years before we even started having children. Because we decided that we were going to marry before we carried. And we wanted to make sure, even as a married couple, that we wanted to make sure that even though we had been dating for a few years, we wanted to make sure that we were stable. We were going to be able to hold it down together, that we could get along with each other before we even decided to bring children into this world. And because of that, we have two successful children. And I'm proud to say that because I was a young kid out of control, and I had, I was forced to get my life together. And fortunately, I had people in my life that cared about me enough to have my back, to support me, to be able to do those things. And a lot of people, they don't have that in their life because their parents are out here still caught up. When you in the car with your children and you playing the most obscene music, the craziest music, your kids is hearing that. And then they looking up at mom out in the street yelling, screaming, and fighting. I see that all the time. Young women out here fighting more than men. And I'm like, what happened? It's like it's like black exploitation. That's what it is. We have that whole 70s movement of pimps, prostitutes, drugs, and all of that. That's like has made it come around. I call it rap exploitation because that's what it is. This is the message that you sending out. This is the message that you have the wrong role models. Black women have worked for decades to build the image that they had of hardworking, respectable women of honor. One generation gone, gone. You can't just keep giving your kids. You have to hold your kids accountable. You have to be responsible to your children. You can't
I
be you
think
can't
I
like
think
oh
I
man,
think
it's a
I think that's
mess.
the first step to restoring our narrative, to rebuilding our community. I'm sorry for interrupting, but that's the
No.
first step. We get family back together. Who's the mom,
Yes.
the daddy, who's setting the rules?
Yes.
You tell a
You
child something
know,
out their mouth louder than yours, getting you back.
yeah, you can't be you have to stop being friends with your kids. You get you oh, we cool. Huh? How are you cool with your child and your child is 15 years old pregnant? Where you at? But see, again, like I said, I don't blame just women for that. That's we got that whole thing, oh, single women can't do it. There's a lot of single mothers out here doing the right thing because they take having children and that responsibility serious. But the thing about it is, you have to say, well, how did they get like that? Well, if the father's not around and the mother has to work, now she has to work because all women ain't on welfare and getting public assistance and all of that stuff right there. They're not doing that. They have to work. So and then and more than likely they're gonna have to work hard. They're gonna have to work a lot of hours to try to keep a roof over their head and their children's head. But it doesn't make sense to where you struggling like that and then you keep having babies, you keep having children. You have to come to it has to come to a halt. But that's the thing because there's no parents in the house.
I think what's missing with that is Miss Caroline in the neighborhood, or Miss Mary.
Yes.
Those people. My dad was a single parent. He was at work, but there was
Yeah.
people in the neighborhood that looked after us.
Yeah,
And
but you can't say nothing to these kids because you see on videos, unfortunately, all the time where somebody say something to somebody's child, and then the parent come out there they want to fight you for correcting their child because your child is out of control and bringing the community down with their little group of hoodlums, and the people are scared to say anything now because these young kids will go off. They'll fight you now. They don't even respect the police. I seen it where they jumping in the police face because so and so did something and the police out there, and then the young people in the neighborhood crowding around, yelling, throwing stuff at the police car. What happened? Because there's no consequences. They don't care because there ain't nobody at home to say or do anything to them. So they're gonna do what they want to do, and that's a problem. We got to get control of that. They feeding us madness, nonstop, 24/7 madness. And that starts to brainwash people. Oh, that's funny. That's cool. That's hip. That ain't cool. Sitting in jail ain't cool and hip. Having being a single mother at 16 years old, that ain't cool. That ain't funny no more. Being a young guy here, 18, 19 years old, you got 4 or 5 children, and you don't even got a job. You don't even got a high school education. That's not cool anymore. It's not funny. Because everybody's, my brother calls it the poor man's dream. Everybody think they're gonna be a rap star. So nobody's out here putting in the work anymore. Oh, when I blow up, oh, my music gonna blow up, or my podcast gonna blow up, or I'm gonna be an internet sensation, or I'm a young woman, I'm gonna get out here and I'm gonna sell my body on OnlyFans. Because people, they don't have the right leadership showing them the right way to go. All they seeing every day is madness, nonsense, fast money, ignorance. Everybody wants it quick. Nobody wants to put in the work anymore. And that's because they haven't seen it.
Sigrid
All
said,
it's
Sigrid says parents has to step up and be parents and stop being their children's friends.
right. Exactly.
But
It's
we
not funny no more.
but we're approaching a new day. We're
Mhm.
approaching a new day. And this day is these people are trying to get rid of all of the people who they say is not American, which is not true. They're doing they're doing foreigners and people who are not foreigners. They're mixing them all together like they did us in the day of slavery and trying to get them out and trying to bring us down again. Okay, they want to make us work. That this is what this attempt to do, which is not, is failing. It's failing. So without a narrative, without being able to control ourselves, and I know it can be done, and I'm gonna go all the way back to Africa Town. My sister said I have to have that trip to Africa Town because Africa Town, because we want to say it all came from slavery. That was the last slaves that came into America. They dumped them off the ship and burned the ship. They just found the ship a year and a half ago, and sank the ship in Mobile Bay. That's in Mobile, Alabama. These people took money how they made from slavery and built a whole town that still exists today.
I heard of
They
Africa
built a
town.
town that's like Africa. So to say that came from us being slaves, I'm not denying no part of our history, negative or positive.
Mhm.
We must because right now almost, because those of us that think we have a little something, a lot of us, we have integrated with other people's communities
Mhm.
and we don't have a community.
No.
So we must have a plan that puts us on the offense and bring back hood and not ghetto, because we're not ghetto, we hood.
You know, I'm not the type of person to sit here and tell you that, you know, if you see a crime, don't call the police. I'm the type of person that says, if you see a crime, call the police. Stop it right there. People are like, oh, I'm not no snitch. What? So you'd rather watch your community burn than pick up the phone and do something or say something? When do we hold ourselves accountable? When do we stop? Again, this all goes back to leadership. You know, if you don't have the right leadership guiding people, then this is what you're going to get. I'm not throwing in the towel on this generation because I know that they only showing us a part of the generation. You see all the people out there at the Houston rodeo or at the Daytona Beach going wild. What about the kids that ain't doing that? The millions of black kids that ain't out there running wild, the ones that's going to college, the one that's going to school, the one that's putting in the effort, trying to do something, trying to make a change, living their life the right way. Where they at? We ain't seeing them. We not they that voice doesn't make it to viral. Just the madness does. And so many people are pumping into the madness that is out of control. But what we have to do is we have to get the voices of change, of leadership. You can't be in one sentence talking about doing something for the community, this, that, the other, and then in the next sentence, you a clown, you being a buffoon, because you see it as an opportunity now that you're making money. Instead of keeping on your point, you change your dialect, your dialogue, excuse me, and now you talking nonsense. So which is it? Are you for the community, or you for the madness, for a check, for money? See, that's the thing about it. So many people are so obsessed. You go out here. Let me tell you this.
Okay, tell us.
You let's just say, for example, you have Gucci, like Gucci. We all know Gucci.
Mhm.
But then Gucci and them were trying to get fast with the Asians, and the Asians told the truth. In Asia, they told the truth that, hey, we making this stuff for pennies on the dollar. We might make a bag for, excuse me, for $100, and that same bag comes to America and it has a 5,000% markup. Listen to that. 5,000% markup for something that cost them $50 to make. And we out here spending up all this money that we have, ruining our credit for something that just has a name stamped on it that has no value. Can't that money be spent better somewhere else? We have successful black people. Where the supermarkets at? Where the clothing stores at? Where's all of these things at? Everybody, you see black designers making incredible clothing and slap a $500 price tag on it. Didn't cost them nowhere near that, but they know that we want the best. We're gonna do what we gotta do to because we competing with other people. You trying to impress people that you don't even know. Most people don't even care that you spent $1,200 on an outfit to go to the club on Saturday night, that you wear once and then next season it's out of style and it's just sitting in your closet, and you just keep spending more and more and more and more and more. And a lot of these people are getting things on credit. And then when you need your credit, it ain't there. Because I processed bankruptcies for Visa once upon a time in my life. And guess what? We were processing thousands of bankruptcies a day. A day. And most of it was credit card debt. Why? Listen, we can have black supermarkets because we have black farmers that we can reach out to and build these things. We have black intellectuals that can. To me, I don't respect somebody that's a black intellectual that's highly educated, and then they go on and teaching at Yale and Harvard for 30 years, and then all of a sudden after that 10 years done, they want to come back to the black community and say, oh, we need to do this, we need to do this. Where you been at for the last 30 years? Where you been at? Why wasn't you speaking for 30 years? Because you couldn't say nothing because you were at that elite white school. And now that your tenure is over, now it's okay to say something. We should have been saying something a long time ago. Or maybe you should have been at one of these black colleges where the kids really needed your leadership. So don't come now and start trying to tell us a story about, oh, the system is this, the system is that. The system was always that. But where were you at? You were on the other side. Instead of being there for the children that really needed, people that really needed you. See, my brother always said to me, it's not just about one or two black people that are making it. Well, what about the millions that ain't making it? The black people who have made it that could actually come back and teach these kids this is how the system works instead of taking advantage of them because they capitalists, because they thinking about themselves. It's easy for you. It's easy. Listen to this. It's easy for somebody to sit there and say to you, "Oh," and especially on a rap song, "Oh, I'm out in the street. I'm doing this. I'm doing that." Yeah, but when they go home, they go into gated communities. They kids ain't in the hood. They kids are going to these really good schools. But y'all stuck in the ghetto trying to be like them, trying to live this make believe life because it ain't real. And the sad part about it is the rap music done corrupted so much, it made it real. It made the hood bad. It made everything messed up. And I blame these rappers for that right there. Selling these kids these dreams. Telling them, oh, this, that, and the other. I made a whole bunch of money selling drugs. And then they asked Jay-Z, well, you were selling drugs. And he threw his hands up like, hey, I didn't tell you to sell drugs. I sold drugs. You didn't have to, but you glamorized it. You made it seem like this is what comes along with it. The women, the flash, the champagne, all of that you sold to the youth. And you got rich and then you moved away. But now here we are 20 years later, you throwing up your hands like, hey, this, that, and the other. I'm making power moves. I'm doing this, that, and the other. Huh? But you the one that put this message in these kids' head. You the one that elevated the hood up as this status symbol that people have to look up to. When did it become a rite of passage for young men to have to go to jail? Like that's something that has to be done in your life. When did that happen? When did it become cool for young girls, for young girls to be out here exploiting themselves? When did that become cool? It became cool because the music made it cool. Again, like I said, Black women have worked hard to build an image of themselves. And in one generation, it's been swooped out of their hands. And now you look at Black women now and you're like, man, what happened to y'all? And there ain't nobody to blame for that but Black women. Because they following behind the Sexy Reds and the Megan Thee Stallions. Show me some videos of Black women that ain't out there twerking, that ain't out there. Remember we were talking, the Houston Rodeo, for example. They were dressed so bad, that they had to change the dress code because they had families out there. And you had Black men and Black women, wives, husbands with their children out there to have a good time. And what happened? Young people out there shooting. Women out there naked. They don't even got on shirts. They got pasties on. Chaps with thongs on, walking around and doing broad daylight like, yeah, haha, it ain't no big deal. It is a big deal. Where's your self-respect at? Where's your dignity? Where's the honor in being a woman? Just because you can do it, that don't necessarily mean that you should. And we have to get control of our narrative, and we have to shame people and say, hey, you can't be out here like that. Look at her. You can't do that. Tell these young guys, hey man, why you got a shiesty on in 80-degree weather? Why you got this ski mask on out here? We got to stop you at the gate and say, nah, you can't be in here with it. You can't be in here dressed like that. You got to take that. You got to pull up your pants, or you can't come in here. We don't want no parts of that right there. There's no shame anymore. People do willst thou want, or do is what thou willst. And you can't, there's nothing that's stopping that. And the thing about it is, back in the days, white kids do it. They doing it today, but they not showing it because guess what? The powers that be control the narrative. They not gonna put their garbage or in front of the cameras for everybody to see. They all right with a few people on TikTok doing it. They ain't no big deal to them right there. But then you sit there and they got a balance to that. They'll show you an Elon Musk. They'll
So
show you Daniel Ek. They'll show you these people who are super rich. Hold on. You always hear that white wealth is 10 times or whatever times more than Black wealth. Well, here's the real story to that right there. When you have a bigger pool of people, if you have a man that's worth $200 billion and you add him to the pool, of course it's going to bring the numbers up for everybody. And you have multiple people like that. You have multiple millionaires, multiple billionaires, all of these people in that one pool. Of course, it's going to bring the numbers up for everybody. But that's statistics, and we know statistics aren't real. The average white family ain't got that wealth like they trying to tell you that they got. If you took the numbers instead of grouping them all together and saying just one big pool, and you started putting them at different levels, you will see that the average white person's wealth is the same as the average black person's wealth. But they're not going to do that. They're going to play these games with people's minds. But because people are not educating themselves, they don't know these things because they hearing, they not going and doing the research. They only buy into what they hearing and seeing. That's the only senses that they using. They're not taking the time to say, well, let me go take a look at this. Well, let me go figure this out. Let me go find that out. They're not doing that. And because of that, you can brainwash people with lies, because that's what it all boils down to, lies. Because they're more, like they said, oh, it's 1 million black men in jail. Yeah, what about the other 15 million that ain't in jail? Where are they story at? That's why we have channels like yours, so you can bring this information to the people. Without the fluff, without the laughing, without the giggling, without all the oh, it's gonna be all right. It ain't gonna be all right.
We
But
got to make it all right.
yeah, but here's the thing about it. You're going to always go through a transition. You're not going to be able to save everybody. There's some
Mhm.
people that's just going to be lost, and there's nothing that you can do about that. But what we got to focus on is the people who aren't lost. What about those kids? What about those people? You can't. It's easy. It's just like for example with the election. They say 70% of the people voted for Trump. Well, guess what? Everything that's happened in America now, the war, people dying, and everything like that. That's on them. That's not on Trump. That's on the 70% that voted for him. So when now you see in all these places, especially like I'm in Florida, you see there was 2 districts in Florida, and one of them is where Trump is at, and it flipped to blue. Of course it flipped to blue. You know why? Because the benefits that the majority of white people were getting, they ain't getting them no more. And you know why they vote in blue now? Because they want those benefits back.
Mhm.
That's why they vote in blue, because they thought that it was just going to affect black and Hispanics. That's what they thought it was going to be. When you see stuff like, when you see stuff like ICE going into these communities and grabbing these people and everything like that, a lot of people are like, oh, boo-hoo. I'm not boo-hooing. You know why? Because Malcolm X said this, that they were going into the police were going into the black communities. They didn't care if you were Christian, Muslim, rich, poor. If you were black, you were out there, and they were violating your civil rights. And this is what black people tried to tell people. Say, hey, this is gonna happen. And these people, the 70% that voted, nah, this ain't gonna happen. This ain't gonna happen. It's happening. It's happening. And they mad at black people, say, oh, black people got their hands up, say, oh, it ain't got nothing to do with us. You right. It don't have anything to do with us. It's not fair. Well, then you fight it. Then you deal with it. You worry about that. Over here, I got other problems that I'm trying to worry about, because truth be told, it's more black people out here that are doing good than bad. But the
Mhm.
problem is the narrative is showing you the bad, because they're trying to make everybody seem like they living in this rap music lifestyle, and they not.
And they're showing you our bad, but they're not showing you
They
theirs.
never gonna
We
show you
both
they
we
bad.
both had we both had correctional experience, jail
Yes.
and prisons. Almost as many as them in there as we are.
What? Listen,
But I
you
want to
not
read.
even.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to read before we get way off the
Okay.
subject. I want to read what Secret had to say. And look at all the programs on TV now. All the families are doing is cursing and fighting. So they think that's the way it should be.
Yeah, when you putting stuff on there like reality TV, that's not reality, is scripted. But see, most people don't understand that not scripted. When Basketball Wives first came out, people, black women were like, "Yeah, get his money." But now look at it. Now you got Love and Hip Hop. It's nothing but drama. We love drama. You know why? Because we don't want anybody holding us accountable. We don't want anybody to say anything to us. We want to be able to do things the way that we want to do them. And unfortunately, it's gotten out of control. I'm sorry to say it, but you know, some people that are out here in these streets doing the things they doing, they need to be locked up. They need to be taken off the street. And the reason why, so you can protect. I just saw a child today, a baby in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, was shot, caught up in the crossfire of some foolishness, a baby being shot. When does it stop? When do you start holding people accountable? When do we say, okay, enough is enough? There's no jobs for us. We create the jobs. Remember when, okay, so and so's father was a mechanic. He got 5 or 6 young guys out there showing them how to be mechanics. They don't want that no more. Because guess what? It's hard work. You gotta learn. And these kids don't got the attention span of a gnat. They don't want to put the work in. And that's male and female. They don't want to do it. Everybody wants this fast, quick. Everybody wants to chill and lay back. Nobody wants to go out there and earn anymore. Everybody wants it quick so they can go out there and blow their money on a 5,000% markup to try to be cool, to try to be hip. You know what's cool and hip? Graduating college, graduating high school. That's cool and hip.
Even graduating technical school.
Yeah, listen, for these young people, for these young black men, guess what? There are jobs out there that will bring you in with no training, with no experience. They will train you how to be a mechanic, how to be an AC repairman. They will show you how to be an electrician free. But one thing, you can't be on drugs. I'm down here in Florida. The family that I work for, the guy is a corporate banker. He got my son a job at an electrical company, and the guy was saying that they were taking people off the streets and bringing them in to train them. But the problem is they can't find anybody that can pass a drug test. You got Home Depot and Lowe's right now that have free programs to tell you how to get out here and be a roofer, how to do electrical, how to do plumbing, how to do anything blue collar, hands on. And these are decent paying jobs. They're good paying jobs once you get the experience under your belt and once you learn how to do it. But you can't be on drugs. You got to
I
be able to pass
I
a drug
had a
test.
Latino guy just this past weekend. Um, what happened to your leg? I fell down off the roof. I fell down 2 stories. You're a roofer. And then when we got to the part, what's your highest level of education? Um, I went to 4th grade. So you're a
Yeah.
roofer and you went to 4th grade? Well, my family taught me how.
Yeah. His family taught him how.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. But it's out here to get. Instead of taking your money and blowing it on foolishness, go get an education. Go get something that's going to last you long term. Go do blue collar to where you don't have to worry about AI taking your job because AI ain't going to never be able to lay pipe. AI ain't going to never be able to fix a roof. AI ain't going to never be able to be an electrician. You don't have to worry about those jobs. AI ain't going to never take the place of a nurse. They never going to do this. Everybody can't start off at the top, but you can still live a good life. You
My
can
niece,
still,
I told my niece one day she has 2 wonderful, wonderful boys. And I said, oh, they're just perfect. She said, no, Nanny, they're not perfect. I say, perfect is this. Perfect is not what people think it could, what people think it is. Perfect is fulfilling the purpose that God created you for. If you're
yes,
walking in the purpose of that God created you for, that's perfect. You're perfect. You that's why you were here. And
yes,
everybody can't be the banker.
no. Everybody can't be the lawyer.
And everybody can't
Everybody can't be the
just get
doctor.
dressed up all pretty. I love to get dressed up pretty with my makeup, but I know I can't go be a nurse like that.
Right. Yes, but see, that's the thing. There's opportunities for you. Listen, when like in Florida, for example, and I'm sure it's happening all over the country, that they moving these illegals out of here. Well, guess what? They're moving these illegals out, and guess what? There's jobs now for young people to go get because these people were here. The thing is, these people were here. Like, let me give you an example. My son is an electrician. My son just finished school as an electrician. Why should my son have to take less money because there's somebody here illegally that shouldn't be here? Period. You shouldn't be here, period. They say, oh, these people are not breaking the law. You broke the law when you stepped across the border illegally. So why should my son have to take less money because somebody here is doing the work, the same job that he went to school to learn how to do? Why should he take less money because somebody's here illegally and they can pay them less money? Why should my son have to take less? Why is that fair for my son? And I had to go through this with him and explain. He was like, oh, it's messed up what they doing to the illegals. No, what's messed up is that they here flooding the job market, and young people like yourself who went to school, who did it the right way, who's a citizen, has to take less money because somebody's paying them under the table. And now your money is less money. And that's why I say I'm not out here to fight ISIS fight. I'm not out here picketing. I'm not out here marching. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And any black person that does that is crazy.
I did it. I was
I know,
outside.
and I think you crazy too. You know
That's okay. That's okay.
that.
That's okay. I did it, and I was out there, and I went into different neighborhoods because different neighborhoods. But I'm the People's News, but
Right,
different neighborhoods had had their rallies. So I'm
right.
sitting in my neighborhood where the average salary is 150 grand a year and up. Okay, and
Hmm.
I'm sitting, and these people look. Most of them were white. It was a few of us. Um, Understanding that we need to defend our money.
Yes.
Understanding that if we just sit back and do nothing, we not they're gonna be snatched everything. They found a way to snatch everything and put it for themselves. Now some people may not have anything to fight for, but those people out there, I mean, it was old people, old lady beating the drum. They all had their signs. We were all screaming and chanting like "No kings, no kings," because they're destroying everything we worked for.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When the agents came here, the banks wouldn't give them loans to build nothing in the white communities, but they gave them money to build in the Asian community, and that's exactly what they did.
The black
I mean, they gave them money to get loans to build in the black community, and that's exactly what they did.
Mhm.
You just had the food court up in Woodbridge, Virginia. The owner of the food court, it was a successful food court owned by an Asian guy. They got him out of there. He just had to pay $54,000 for racism because he was a racist. Talking to the black people that worked there, didn't want to do any black events. He was canceling them, and they just made him pay $54,000 for racism. Because again, that whole people of color thing is a misnomer.
Let
We
me bring
all
this
we
up,
all people of color, but we not all foundational black Americans.
but I want to bring this up about us. On Auburn Avenue was
Oh
the
man,
place
yes.
of black money. Okay, I got it
Mm-hmm.
on my head on now. Black money. So it's the
I know Auburn Avenue.
Auburn Festival,
Yep.
Auburn Street Festival. I'm on one side of the street, a vendor, and an Asian woman is on the other side. We selling the same purses. We
Why is
bought
she there?
America's Mart. Okay,
Well, why is
and
she even
first of all,
there? Why even
I
gotta
want you
give her
to
a
address
license?
this. I want you to address this though. We we I can look at her purses and look at mine. We have the same purses that we're selling on Auburn Avenue for the festival that's gonna be coming up Memorial Day weekend. My purses was a little less than her purses, But all the people on Auburn Avenue went to her. I didn't have,
Yeah.
I didn't have, but all the people on Auburn Avenue was black. I want you to address that.
First off, why is she even down there? Why are black people even allowing outsiders to come into their space to do anything? Especially something like that. They should the first person that they should have turned to was you. She shouldn't have been able to sell anything.
But
Period.
why is our mindset that we're gonna go to somebody else and not gonna come to
Because
us?
we don't like to see each other rise. Listen, listen, we don't it's just like with your friends. Everything is good with your friends until you start getting successful. Then they start acting funny. Because as long as you're on the same level, they all right. And that's the thing with black people. We literally like crabs in a bucket. We don't like to see each other shine. We don't like to see each other coming up. We got a major problem with jealousy. And we learned that from the Irish during slavery times. All of the things, the language, all of that, we learn all the raunchy things we learned from the poor whites because they were the overseers and they were side by side with us on the plantations doing the work. And these black people didn't know. So they looking at them partying and drinking and everything. We wasn't doing that. But the problem with us is we are crabs in a barrel. We hate to see each other shine. We hate to see each other come up. We can't stand it. It makes us ball our fists and hold our breath. That's why you experience that right there.
Building a narrative. How do we address that in our community?
We got to get control of our voice. Listen, we got to turn our backs on certain things and certain people. Period. We cannot keep celebrating people whose major focus is to bring us down. And those people that are doing that, we got to turn our backs on them. You can't have a Kanye West say the things that he said about black people, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm back on my medication. No, you said exactly what you wanted to say when you said it, and you shouldn't be allowed back in. You can't have somebody sit there and say to you, hey, we're going to I'm part owner of a team, a basketball team in Brooklyn, and say, I want y'all to get behind this. I want you to get behind this. I want you to get behind this. And come to find out the community has been gentrified and you only own 0.5%. But you sold your 5%, you got rich. You can't have people that says, hey, I'm going to create a black streaming service. I'm a black owner. I'm going to create a black streaming service. I want all the black artists to come on my thing and support my thing. And then when it gets big and it's full of black artists, you sell it.
Like Essence, and that's why I refuse to support Essence
Oh,
Festival because there's nothing black about Essence.
yeah. And then I heard that it's Africans running it.
It's
Didn't you?
white people. White people own
People in
it.
Africa. You take it. Go. Don't support it. See, that's the thing. Take your dollar elsewhere. That black dollar has a lot of power, and they know it has a lot of power. We don't know it because we too busy wasting it. Because you buying stuff that don't the material stuff that don't mean anything. But see, here's the thing. It's always been like that with black people. Because we've been disrespected for so long. That's why black people started getting out there buying stuff because they want to impress other people. Not that you even like it, but because it got a name on it, you want to wear it and you want to impress people who you don't even know. That don't even matter. But again, it goes when you have black celebrities, athletes, entertainers being a voice for you, that's where the problem starts. Ain't no other community allowing that. But our community, we allow that. We
But
would
we
rather
allow them to rap and come in our
yeah.
neighborhood, in our communities, they don't rap.
You have had white artists who have came in portraying themselves down with black people, doing black music and everything. And then once their career took off, they right back over to their people. And you had black people that were behind stuff, like black people in the background producing, arranging, doing everything to make these people stars. And once they became stars, they went right back over to their community and started doing their thing. I can't say white music because it's all our music. But we so free to give stuff away. We create trends, and next thing you know, some white kids see it, they start doing it, and then it goes viral, and they like, oh, this person created that. The
But
number one,
I would really be for boycotting the Essence Festival
listen,
because that's one
I'm
reason Susan Taylor
boycotting a,
left out.
I'm with boycotting a lot of black things that have
But
no
it doesn't.
that have no value to us. I'm
Hmm.
with boycotting a lot of people who've only exploited us. You had Puffy or Diddy or whatever you want to call him. He was saying, Ciroc, drink Ciroc. That's my liquor. That's my liquor. That's my liquor. He wasn't even the owner of that. He wasn't even the owner of that. He was just a marketing tool that they used, and then they sales went through the roof because black people were supporting Ciroc because he was selling that dream that he was owning, and people wanted to support him. And he never owned anything. He didn't own nothing. He was just a mouthpiece for it. But the black dollar went in there and made it big because black people wanted to support him. But that goes back to supporting black celebrities. These people don't got no interest in you. They don't see you as nothing but a dollar sign. Period. The money. That's all they see. Because if they cared, again, if they cared, they wouldn't price their clothes so high for these young kids in these streets that ain't got no jobs, and they gonna do whatever they gotta do to get their clothes, to get their brand. And guess what? That means if they ain't got, especially in the inner cities, especially in the inner cities where these young kids ain't got no jobs, but they want that stuff. They're going to do whatever they got to do to go get it. And that includes crime. And guess what? That crime can lead to death or prison sentence. But this celebrity done made millions of dollars. But you got to stop following behind them. You got to stop worshiping them. You got to stop looking them. So what is so-and-so saying? Who cares what they say? Who cares? What are they doing for you? Nothing but getting rich. But again, that goes to the leadership. Where the voices at? Where's the real black leadership at? We're the ones that saying, look, we sick and tired of it. Where the Farrakhan's at? Where these people at? You even had TD Jakes caught up in some mess with Puffy. I remember years ago, I seen Eddie Long hanging out with Ludacris. What y'all got in common? Money. Money. At the end of the day, the dollar sign. Like we talked before about the black church. The black church, man, look how they dressing. Look how the women are dressing. They clothes is tight. Everybody in church, they should have a dress code at church because they
And you
going out there
shouldn't be
looking.
on the worship team with a dress halfway up your thighs, and when you raise up your legs, raise up your. Some of them raise up their legs too, and you raise up your hands. Everything. No, I'm just not for it.
Yeah, but see that's becomes because there's no accountability. There's nobody there teaching. If you got a young mother and she's still out there doing it, then you gonna do it because that's what you learning at home. When I got divorced, I fought for my son. You know why? Because I knew I did not want somebody trying to teach my son something that he ain't have no business learning. Not saying that his mother would go out there and meet somebody like that, but just because he's hanging around with people and they might take him around now. I fought for him. And I can say that my son is a college graduate because he's here with me because I fought for him.
And a gentleman.
Yes, and respectful because that's what I put in him. From beginning, you gotta marry before you carry. Instead of just getting out here, look at the HIV rates, the sexually transmitted diseases, and all that. I saw a story, and they said after this carnival in Houston, there were 42,000 new cases of STDs because people they were showing videos of girls in the car, just girls jumping in cars, just having sex with anybody. I saw two young black guys on the interview. They said, if we don't get a sexually transmitted disease in Houston, we doing something wrong. What? Listen to that. That's insanity.
A friend of mine was telling me
Huh.
a guy went somewhere to one, I don't know if it was the Houston thing, but it was somewhere. And 2 weeks later, he had everything, all the diseases, syphilis, HIV,
Yeah.
sores breaking out. And you know what I noticed? That is so many young people.
Hmm.
It is almost like it skipped a generation.
They don't
So
care.
many young people that's HIV positive.
Yeah, because they don't care. They just out here free, going free for all. Because they ain't got nobody teaching them. They ain't teaching that in the school no more. And if they trying to teach them, there's somebody in the class running their mouth, being disrespectful to the teacher, or they sitting in the classroom on their cell phones, watching social media. Again, the control of the narrative is for the people who can make a difference to stop thinking about the money and start saying the things that we need as a people to hear. It might skip this generation. It might skip this generation and get to the next generation. That happens. It's part of the game. But then you also have to go back and look at the lineage of America and see how these things happen to this group. What did they go through? They went through the same thing. But again, they at least they had balance. They
And,
have
and I
balance.
don't believe that we don't have, I believe that it's going to be a whole new America right now, a whole new
Yeah.
country. And we need to start building real community, real family. I mean, starting by just little things, just
Yes.
little things.
Listen, within but without white America. We cannot live on that, oh, white people doing it. We can't live on that no more. We passed that point. We passed the point of excuses. We have to turn our backs on the people who would put a knife in it, who have put a knife in it. We have to turn our backs on the people who don't have no good for us. We have to say, look, we're not going to listen to your radio station if you keep playing that nonsense. We're not going to support your page if you all you got is nonsense. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. We refuse as a people to do it. To listen to this buffoonery that you are displaying in front of us and calling it entertainment. We not going to, you can't come in here dressed like that. I'm sorry, but we not accepting that in here. I understand it's Saturday night. I'm sorry, but you can't come in here dressed like that. The deacons at the church door got to tell the women, I'm sorry, you can't come in like that. We have rules here. This is the house of God. You can't come in here like that. You have to start saying no. You have to start holding people accountable. You have to stop them at the door and say, hey, this is not permittable. We will not accept this anymore. That's how you change the narrative. That's how you get control of it, by putting people in their place and
And I
letting them
believe this
know.
about church. If the women of God in the church is not dressed appropriately, there's some people who are gonna come in off the street. What are they gonna see different?
Right, but guess what? They might come off the street, but they ain't going to be in there with their skirt super duper tight, with their cleavage barely hanging on by a thread. Well, like you said, where their skirts are so high that when they sit down, you can see their underwear. That's what I'm saying.
Me too. I'm
So,
I'm in agreement with you. I'm only adding.
you
I'm
know, we
only
want
adding.
people, we want people to come and worship, but you know when you walked out the house that outfit wasn't appropriate.
Yes.
You knew it wasn't appropriate because you an adult and you knew it wasn't appropriate to come in here dressed like that,
Yes.
especially in the house of the Lord. This ain't the club. You dress like that when you go to a nightclub. You know you don't come into church dressed like that.
And some of
But
that is too much for the nightclub.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing about it. That's why we have to start holding people accountable. We have to stop saying enough is enough. That's how you change the narrative. I don't want to hear that. When you turn the radio on and you in the car with your children and all they talking about is guns and violence and sex. No, we don't want to hear and drugs. No, we don't want to hear that no more. Call a radio station. Tell people to turn the radio off. They'll change it. But you can't do that with just one or two people. You got to do that with millions of people saying enough is enough. You can't be scared anymore. You can't worry
Right.
about what people think anymore.
Right.
We
Correct.
can't do it anymore. We have let it go way too long. And that's why it is the way that it is. That's why things are the way they are because we let it get out of hand. Nobody else got it out of hand. We did. We started calling our women B's and H's and everything like that. We started that. We did that. Now women calling themselves B's and H's. What? Come on. We gotta get the right role models. You don't need a Cardi B. She'll sell you a dream. Beyonce told all my single ladies this, single ladies that, and Jay-Z controlled every aspect of her life. But she was selling y'all a dream because it was entertainment. It was never meant to be, it's supposed to help you escape away from the madness and the struggles and the everyday hardship of life. That's what music used to do. Remember?
Yes.
Music used to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Rap music used to do that. You used to put it on and listen to it and escape away and say, oh man, this feels good. I can go out here with my lady and I can go dance. I can dance around the house with my mom. We all in here singing. We all in here having a good time. Now you can't even do that. Put a song on in the house with your mother. Your mother is like, ugh. If she's a real mother, she's going to tell you to turn it off.
Right. Well,
I don't want to hear that
are they
junk in
gonna
my house.
know? Nana, you don't put that on.
Don't put that Nana here, put that on. But if Nana's 35 and she's still out in the street and she's still in there, I saw a video of a lady, she went to a party. Her son wasn't supposed to be at the party. She came in there dressed like she was at the club, came in there, got her son out of there. Next thing you know, she like, yeah, 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 what up? And they're dancing with the young people. What kind of role model are you? What kind? And then on the comments, it was like, yeah, girl, get it. Show them young people. No, don't show them young people nothing. Get your son and get up out of there. You don't want him in there, but you trying to go in there and party over here, party over there. You in there twerking. Yeah, yeah, what? You might as well let your son back in. If you out there doing it. I'm telling you, we got to hold people accountable. We got to say enough is enough. No, we're not going to accept it. That's how you change the narrative. It's not hard. We just need more people to do it. All the buffoonery, all the nonsense that you see online, stop clicking the likes on it. Stop following behind these people. They don't mean you no good. They're exploiting you. They're trying to get money. They're trying to take. Who cares about what some celebrity doing? Who cares about what some athlete doing or some entertainer? Who cares? What are you doing every day? What are you as a black person doing to make it better for other black people? Pick up the phone and call the radio and tell them, no, turn that nonsense off. I went to a club one night. Every song was a trap music song. I was like, man, how are you having a good time to murder and death? How am I here at the club to have a good time and every song is talking about murder, 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 kill, 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 drugs and all? I said, man, get me out of here. I'm going crazy in there. I ain't been to a club since.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And God forbid if you go to a club 18 and over, it's going to guarantee to be a fight in there.
18 and
So,
over. Oh
18,
God.
listen, if you 45 years old, 40 years old, you ain't got no business being in no club with nobody 18 years old. You ain't got no business in there. But that's the thing. We got to stop being professional teenagers and people got to grow up and accept the responsibility of being black and being a leader. Just because you don't have a congregation or you don't have a group of people, you still a leader. You still a representative. You still a role model. Somebody is still looking at you every day when you walk out the house. All of these women, they want these men making all this money and everything like that. What's wrong with a man coming home with a little bit of dirt on his clothes? What's wrong with him being there, treating you
Yeah,
like a queen, treating you like a queen, and raising your children. What's wrong with that man? Because he got a little dirt, his hands is dirty. But how does he treat you? And he ain't gotta be 6 feet tall to be a good man. But again, that's social media hype. That's social media norms. This is what they're telling you that you gotta have.
that's that fake dreams, little girls.
Listen, that's it. And they and all of this out of control sex. Stop. What they sell condoms. Put a condom on. All these diseases and everything going up and going out of control. They said the HIV rate in Atlanta is on the rise. It was already through the roof. How can it go any higher? But you just out here just wild, just no control, just losing your sanity. And somebody got to be held accountable for that. And it's the person in your mirror. What do you represent when you go out?
Absolutely.
What are
Absolutely.
you telling the world as a person? What are you saying? What
Absolutely.
are you allow? Like they said, 13, 14-year-old girls got lace front wigs. Why? Why does a 14-year-old girl need a lace front wig and a face full of makeup? Going to school, girls at school with booty shorts on. Where's the rules at the school? Where the school say, nah, y'all can't be like that here? I remember people got mad at Morehouse because they told the guys at Morehouse, yo, y'all, the men at Morehouse, you can't be in here with a dress on. What? That's what they should have told them. Why are you even, man, come on. We letting things go. We so busy like, oh, it's all right. It's cool. It ain't all right. It ain't cool. And it being and us turning the cheek to the turning our face away from it. And that ain't me. That ain't no big deal. This is why we in the situation that we in. Now we gotta look people eye to eye. We gotta look ourselves eye to eye, mirror to mirror. Look at yourself and say, what do I represent? What am I willing to accept? What am I going to do to make a change? How am I going to stand up and say enough is enough? When am I going to take the initiative and stop saying, "Hey, I'm willing to sacrifice these youth to the system, to the street, to whatever"? It ain't no big deal. It is a big deal.
Yes, it is.
It is a
Yes,
big
it is.
deal. I'm sorry for talking so much, but I ain't
So
seen you in a long
we
time. I
jump.
ain't
I
got you.
know. Look, and we over time, but it was too good to shut off.
I'm sorry,
No,
but
no,
I love my people,
just
and
come back more often when they
I love to celebrate black people. I'm not here to down all black people because all black people ain't living like that. It's only a small percent, but we got to get the big percent of people who are out here doing right, living right, married, taking care of their families, doing all that. We got to get their voices out there.
yeah.
We got to make them cool. We got to make them hip.
Guess what? We got to have conversations like this because somebody's going to hear this and they're going to think about it.
Yeah,
Um,
they might say what they want to say about me, but I don't care.
and no, look, they're saying
I
I'm
don't care.
enjoying it. That's what they're saying.
you
Secretly,
know.
I'm enjoying it. Yes, yes. Needs, it needs to be said. It needs to be said. Where we gonna
Yes.
go? Where we gonna start? Um,
Yeah.
a lot in our family it takes a sacrifice. But our young men at
Yes.
all boys school, St. Aul, in New Orleans, and every child from there earns a scholarship to college, earns their way through college.
Yeah.
This year, when Ty is graduating this year, every one of those young men are going through college. Every one of them is black. There's some scholarships that
Yes.
say no, but family sacrifice. Look, you can't go there with no, like my grandson loved me said, I wish you lived in New Orleans just to get that haircut. But
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like, so leave us with something, Scotty. Leave us with something.
Listen, we are beautiful people. We are creators. We intelligent. We're strong. We're resilient. They have been trying to destroy us. They can't destroy us because we worked together. Now we got chinks in our armor and they exploiting it. We have to fill those chinks and we have to get back to business. We can't afford some people anymore. We have to turn our back on them. We have to teach them a lesson. We have to show them that we mean business. And that starts with everything black and our community. You remember, foundational black American. It ain't about people of color. It's about foundational black Americans taking control of our narrative and doing the right thing. People might hate you. People might dislike it, but 10 years, 20 years from now, they will thank you for it. And that's my message. I love my people, but we
Don't
gotta start
forget,
holding them
have a great
accountable.
subscribe, and look, don't be so long coming back.
No, 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 no. I'm glad you invited me back. I'm glad you called me. Yeah, I don't mind. But thank you for everybody that watched. And just I hate to be so hard, but sometimes you gotta be hard to be good.
I say you're being true,
Yes, ma'am.
and that's what we need.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good night.
Good night.